Hello, everybody. Welcome to another survival game news roundup for the week of February 21 to February 27, 2025. So let's get right into it. We've got some exciting news for a good number of games today, as well as some new gameplay trailers. Very excited to show those. So starting off, Bellwright. On February 25th, Bellwright announced their kind of upcoming spring update. It's not live yet, but these are basically things that they are planning to bring to the game sometime in spring. And there's a lot of things here that I'm pretty excited about. I've been following Bellwright for a little bit. I've played it a little bit, and with some polish, I see this definitely being like a really fun game. So what are they bringing in with this spring update? The first is animal husbandry and improved animals. They plan to allow us to raise, care for, and obtain as well a number of animals with an animal husbandry system. The feature is going to bring in more depth to managing our settlements, so we can find new vendors in nearby towns where we can start and then breed and harvest more animals, which we will have to then raise to adulthood. And they're also working on wild animal behaviors and interactions, so they feel a bit more lifelike, a little less like robotic, I would say. So we have that. They're also brought in new butchering interactions, so basically you can process animals further by bringing them to this new kind of like butchering station. And when you do that, you basically get like more meat and pelts by bringing it to the station, by just processing it all down. And the yield of what you get can also be increased by the butchering bench, as well as your hunting skill when used by you or your companions. So basically you can use all of the animal, if you will, and get a good number of resources out of it. They're also planning on bringing in a library as well as sitting behaviors, like sitting animations. So it's a new structure that gives your companions a space to read the many books that you've collected along the way, typically like skill books and such. So they wanted to give it kind of like an automated location where your characters, your NPCs, your villagers, I guess, another way to say that, can go to this place and read books and kind of increase their skills, but in a way that looks a little bit more interactive, a little bit more immersive. So they have that, or they will be having that rather in the spring update. And they've also now, or they will be anyway, allowing characters to have sitting animations, basically, which again just adds a further touch of realism to their lives. So you guys can all sit around the campfire and have read your books and tell your tales and all that. They also plan on bringing fishing to the spring update, which I know was something that they really wanted to bring in themselves, and also something that a lot of the players wanted. So that should be available come spring update. We'll be able to cast our lines in the rivers, the lakes, the ponds, and they plan on having a variety of fish out there for us to catch. And obviously that fish can then be processed as food to feed your villagers. So they're pretty excited about that as well. And they're trying to make it, mechanically interesting as well as immersive. So we'll have to see what they come up with on that one. They also have added additional decorations so we can personalize our settlements with even more of those. So again, you can just customize your town and make it, as immersive as possible. So they kind of paid attention to what the players were requesting in regards to that. So if you have made some requests, you might see some of that when they release these decorations. So customize your village as you would like. Pacific Drive also had a little kind of like an announcement. They celebrated their first year anniversary, and a lot of it was just like thanking the players, the fans, because obviously Pacific Drive has done very well, which is very understandable. I played it myself. Very fun game, very cool game. And they've gotten a lot of love from gamers, so they were just, trying to give that love back. And they also kind of revealed a little bit of some of the things that is going on kind of like within this universe. So they announced late last year that they were collaborating with Atomic Monster on a Pacific Drive television adaptation, which I know I'll be watching because I love that kind of lore, so definitely gonna be watching that. So they said that that's still a thing that's happening. They're also planning to continue to add some more to the game, and the next kind of big thing they're working on, I guess, is like it's a very large update they're planning on bringing next to the fans. So they're all really excited about that, and they also wanted to thank all the fans and they can't wait to see what 2025 brings for them. And as a way of saying their thanks for everybody who's bought the game and played it and loved it and all that, they have released digital versions of the Traveler's Journal that came with the deluxe edition of the game, as well as the Owner's Manual, which is a booklet that is kind of like this in-universe content that was previously only available in like their limited press kits. So that is now available as well, so you can download both of those as PDFs on the homepage of their website if you're interested in just kind of having that and have your own immersion in your own world. So it's really exciting for Pacific Drive, and a happy anniversary to them. Return to Moria also came with a kind of like an intro of things that players can expect for their title update 5. And with the previous update, update 4, they kind of introduced this cosmetic wardrobe system, which allowed players to kind of customize their dwarves' appearance, as well as they released kind of like the Rohan pack, which was like their first premium skin. So with their Title 5 update, they're kind of like further building on that for the customization and stuff. So there is a Lord of Moria skin that you can now unlock. It unlocks when a player finishes like the game, and this is going to be after the update goes live. Obviously, it's not available right now. But whether you're in sandbox or campaign mode, as soon as you kind of like finish the game, you will notice that the Lord of Moria skin is now in the unlocked like tab, basically. So you can get that cosmetic, and players also who have already beaten the story, like myself, apparently we will also get it, just kind of like auto unlocks for us. So they wanted to make this cosmetic as kind of like a tribute to the final cinematic, and a way to kind of showcase your triumph of what you become, more or less, at the end of the game. So so they wanted to tell you that is coming in Title Update 5. It will also bring in free cam mode, which, man, I wish they had this when I was doing guides for this, because, man, I would have really liked like a photo mode, just saying. So they wanted to make taking pictures in the game a little bit easier. So now in Title Update 5, they will have a free cam mode, which basically allows us to pause the game, kind of like detach the camera. You can move the camera freely around the world within reason. So there's going to be probably like a little distance thing where you can't go beyond a certain distance or whatever. We can adjust the depth of field and focal points. We can also hide the UI and even the dwarf for cleaner shots. Again, I wish this had been available way earlier, but it's coming. They also plan on improving the farming system. So obviously, farming is typically a big thing in survival games, and they felt like they needed theirs to be a little bit more, well, just more, really. So they plan on, first of all, increasing the number of bat droppings. So people who, because I know this has been a complaint, it's really hard to get bats in the game. So they plan on increasing that so you can get the bat droppings from them, which obviously you need for farming and such. So they're bringing that in. Farm plots will eventually also just cost rock instead of granite, so people can start farming way earlier in the game, which is great because it does take a little bit of progress before you're even able to farm, which can be pretty annoying. They're going to include new farming mechanics, which means we'll be seeing like visible growth stages, so that we can check the crop's progress, their growth progress. They've adjusted the growth times, with some crops growing within a single in-game day, so that could be good, definitely. And they've also updated, sound and visual effects. So they plan on having like a few more surprises with the farming update too. So they say, just stay tuned on that. Icarus on February 21 also announced some new DLC that they're bringing called Great Hunts. So this DLC accompanies a free update, which includes content that enhances how everybody interacts with bosses in Icarus. So you can hunt bosses in a brand new way through campaigns. You can proceed down branching paths of missions on your way towards investigating each boss. And your choices will affect the world around you. It can unlock unique tools tools and degrade the boss's abilities, so you can weaken them before the big fight. And each campaign ends with an instance boss encounter in their own kind of arena made just for them. So the first 3 campaigns available to owners of Icarus, Icarus Styx, and Icarus New Frontiers are the Quarite, the Gargantuan, and the Rime Tusk. So existing boss experiences like the Black Wolf, the Sandworm, and the Scorpion boss are also updated in the free patch to introduce, their currencies, their planetary equipment, and legendary weapons. So besides all that, each campaign also unlocks the blueprint for a respective legendary weapon, and these legendary weapons have up to 81 combinations of attachments, crazy, so you can personalize them with special buffs and perks to suit your however you like to fight, basically. Now, alongside all that, we're also getting the Beastmaster armor, so this kind of legendary, in a way, Beastmaster armor has been added to the workshop this week, apparently, so it's probably active and available right now. This armor separates itself from other workshop armors as it provides buffs to mounts and tames during combat and general play. So while wearing the armor, any mounts or tames that you own will receive the following here, which is plus 22% max health, plus 10% physical resistance, plus 10% movement speed, always nice for mounts, plus 20% melee damage, and then plus 40% health regeneration. So they're going to heal a bit faster. We always like that. So that is what's coming with that. And then next week, they kind of released what they're planning on working on, which is tree regrowth. So they were going to release this initially last week, but they determined that this particular system needed a little bit more work, a little more time to cook and bake. So they're planning on bringing that in next week. So you can try that out then, and hopefully people will be pleased with how that all is working. Vikings Dynasty had another Q&A where the devs were answering questions from fans. They wanted to start with a clarification on character creation because they noticed that people were asking about kind of renaming their character. Apparently, the characters that we are playing will have a defined name. We can't change the name, but we can change their appearance. And then in multiplayer, everybody kind of still has that name, but you can be identified by a nickname that either you're going to put in. They also mentioned your nickname on Steam, so I don't know if that's going to take it from Steam. So basically, we're going to have a given name that we're going to have in the story, because I guess they need that for the story. So there you go. So people asked about if there's going to be slavery in this game, because historically, Vikings definitely did do the slaves. They did do the slaves. But that's not going to be in this game. They acknowledge that obviously this did exist, but it kind of interferes with one of the gameplay mechanics that they have involved with the game, so there will be no slaves in this game. Another person asked if the Vikings in the game are based on the Hollywood version of Vikings, or are they leaning more towards historical Vikings. And apparently they're leaning more towards historical, but they do have some element of creative freedom they're bringing to them as well. So there's a lean towards, that way. And then someone asked also, can you raid England or Vinland? And the dev said there are raids, certainly, but they can't give everything away just yet with the whole raid system. So very curious to see what the heck they mean on that, because does that mean, we can do that? We'll have to see, but there are raids, so we have that at least. Another kind of important question that I thought was how different this game is from Medieval Dynasty, because I know this game is going to be pulling in people who have played Medieval Dynasty, and whether you liked it or not, you hopefully will find things that you like in this game, but some maybe different things too to keep your interest. And the dev said yes, there are a number of differences between these two games. For example, Vikings Dynasty has shipbuilding because it's actually an integral part of the game. They also have a focus on Norse gods, which is very different from Medieval Dynasty, which was kind of agnostic with religion. They didn't really have any kind of religion. So there's that. And then also the Jarl management system is apparently also very different from how it's done in Medieval Dynasty. So excited to see how all those systems work in this particular game. And then finally, someone asked if the game is leaning towards realism or mysticism. And they believe they're striving for kind of a balance between the two, but they also acknowledge that mysticism kind of was a part of Nordic society, with their belief in their gods and all that. So the game has a boon system that is tied to the Norse gods, and they said that apparently the gods and mysticism will kind of play a part in the story as well in some way. So all very exciting things, and I really can't wait till this game lets me play a little bit with it, because I want to know what's going on. And then finally, we have Prologue Go Way Back. On February 27th, they released their first gameplay trailer and announced the release date for their early access. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this game, I believe it is from the same developing team behind Pugby Playgrounds, I think, something like that. Anyway, but I've been seeing some interviews with the dev team behind this, the creator behind this, and he is definitely trying to make what sounds like the most challenging, realistic survival game out there. So I can't wait to get my hands on this and just see how brutal it is. But basically, they have released their first gameplay trailer, revealing the world, or at least a portion of the world, their art style, and then some of the mechanics and game loops that we might find. So, and besides all that, they've also released the early access release date, which is summer 2025 this year. Just a few months now, we'll be able to get our hands on this and take a look. So I will just leave you with the remainder of this gameplay trailer, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep surviving and keep thriving.